Go ahead. Thanks.
Thank you, Natasha. I appreciate the introduction. So thank you everyone for attending the grad fair today. And so I'll get us started. So my name is Sonny Coelho. I'm the executive director for the Princeton Review in Canada. So first thing I'd like to do is just point out my contact information that's up on the slide. I highly encourage you to make note of my email address so that if you have any follow-up questions after this session is done, you can definitely feel free to send me an email directly or give me a call. I would be happy to answer those questions for you. Also, if you would like a copy of the slides that I will be presenting today, feel free to send me an email at that email address, sonny.coelho@review.com, and I'll be happy to provide you with a PDF of all the slides. Also, please make note of our various social media accounts. If you'd like to follow us to learn more about upcoming events and promotions, please feel free to do so. Okay, and that's at TPR Canada. All right, so what I wanted to do today was talk a little bit about the MCAT. I know many of you are considering medical school in the future. And so, the MCAT is going to be part of that process as you look ahead to medical school. And if you've never heard of the MCAT or you're not sure what it is the Medical College Admission Test. It is the test that is obviously used for admission into most medical schools in Canada. There are a few medical schools in Canada that do not require the MCAT. So if the MCAT is not your thing, you do still have some options. For example, the University of Ottawa or the Northern Ontario School of Medicine in Northern Ontario. Neither one of those schools requires the MCAT. So there are some possibilities where you can go to medical school without a great MCAT score or without any MCAT score. But for most students, the MCAT is a part of their process because the vast majority of schools do require it. Now, the MCAT, as you can see here, is administered and offered by an organization called AAMC, or the Association of American Medical Colleges. I do ask you to make note of the URL that is listed here on the slide there, the aamc.org/MCAT. That's a very important website. It is the website where you would go to register for the MCAT when you're ready to take the test. It's also a website that provides you with a ton of information about the test. So everything you want to know about what's on the MCAT, about all of the different policies with regards to changing a test date or wanting to cancel, or if there are any upcoming changes to the test, everything would be announced on the AAMC website. So it's an important website for you to keep an eye on. As I mentioned before, it's required for entry into most Canadian medical schools. And the format of the test is that it is a computer-based test. So you will take the MCAT on computer, but please make note that it's a computer-based test. And what I mean by that is that the MCAT very much feels like a paper and pencil exam that you would be accustomed to taking, in university, except that you're doing it on screen, right? You're doing it on computer. And so, when you're in a section of the MCAT, you can answer the questions within that section in any order that you like. If there's a question that you're not comfortable with, you can skip it, come back to it later. So that's one of the good things about the MCAT, is that it does feel a lot like exams that you would take, in university. The other thing that's great about the computer-based format is it does include a lot of tools that can help you. It includes a highlighter tool. It includes a strike-through tool. So if you want to strike out an answer that you know is incorrect, you can do that. It has a tool that allows you to flag a question that you would like to review later if you're not sure about the question. So there's a lot of tools in there that make it feel like, again, it's a paper-based exam. Now, one of the things that AAMC announced recently was they announced all of the 2022 test dates. So there will be, once again, 30 test dates in Canada in 2022. The registration for these dates will actually open in February. And this is very important, I think, for everyone to make note of if you're planning to take the MCAT next summer. So there are a variety of MCAT test dates in 2022. There's some in January, there's some March through June. But the test dates that most Canadian students are interested in are the ones in July, August, and September, simply because most students like to take the MCAT in the summer. That makes sense, right? It doesn't conflict with school. You have more time to actually prepare for the MCAT. And so those July, August, and September test dates are very important. and the registration for those dates will open in February. The exact date hasn't been announced. Now, this is typically what AMC had done in the past. They had opened the registration in February. However, last year, due to the pandemic, they delayed it until April. So it's nice to see them going back to February. So the reason it's important for you to get your test date early is to make sure you get your first choice in terms of test date, and also your first choice in terms of location as well, right? So some locations can fill up. And so you just want to be sure that in February, when the registration opens, you're ready to go and you book your test date. The other thing I noticed when they announced the test dates is that there was definitely a larger concentration of test dates in June and August versus July compared to what we've seen in previous years. So in previous years, there used to be about 5 or 6 test dates in July. It was down to about 3 in July, but the rest of the test dates had been distributed more to August and June. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. If July was your first choice in terms of a test date, there will be fewer options. And so again, extra important for you to be there in February if you really wanted to take the test in July. Okay, just to make sure you book your test date as early as possible. The other thing that's different this year is that AMC is going back to a start time of 8 a.m. This past year in 2021, AMC was offering 2 testing windows. They were doing a 7:30 a.m. testing window and a 3 p.m. testing window for the Mcat. And the idea was that they wanted to basically separate the test takers out as much as possible to try to maintain social distancing in the test centers. So what they're going to do in 2022 is that they're going back to the 8 a.m. idea with the exception of 3 test dates. And I've listed them here on the slide for you. So August 26th, September the 2nd, September the 9th, on those 3 test dates, you still have the option of taking the Mcat at 7:30 a.m. or at 3 p.m. Okay, so if you're an afternoon person and you like to sleep in and you really love that idea of a 3 p.m. start time, those are the 3 test dates for you. And again, make sure you're there in February when the registration opens to make sure you book one of those dates if that's your preference. Okay. Now, if you haven't heard, the Mcat is quite a long test. It's 7 hours. The entire administrative day will probably take you almost 8 hours. And you will receive your scores after about a month. So keep that in mind as well. And then finally, there are some limits as to how often you can take the Mcat. So there's a maximum of 3 times in 1 year. You cannot take it more than 4 times in 2 years. And then finally, my personal favorite, the 7 times in a lifetime. So I really hope no one here ends up in a situation where they're trying to take the Mcat more than 7 times in their life. Perhaps AMC has put that policy into place for your own protection, but 7 times in a lifetime is the maximum limit. Okay, and if you're unsure of what the actual structure of the Mcat looks like, here's a nice preview of it. It is a completely multiple choice test, so that's one thing I will point out. And it consists of 4 sections, all right? So you have 4 multiple choice sections. You can see here that each of them has a rather long mouthful of a name, but we can shorten it a little bit. So the first section, we can basically call it the chemistry and physics section, or chem phys, because that is pretty much predominantly what that section consists of. You can see it's quite long, 95 minutes, and you'll have to answer 59 multiple choice questions. The second section is the sort of dreaded CARS section that many students are stressed about. This section is 100% passage-based reading comprehension. Okay, and so that one is 90 minutes with 53 questions. There's also the bio section. We can shorten it to just the bio section because this section is predominantly biology and biochemistry. And then finally, the psych-soc section, which is psychology and sociology. All right, so you can see there the breakdown and the number of questions. There's a lot of time pressure on the Mcat because most of these sections are predominantly passage-based questions. You will actually be reading a long passage and you'll be answering multiple choice questions based on the passage. So reading skills are very important on the Mcat. I'll also point out the scoring range in case you've never seen it before. Each section is scored on a rather strange scoring range of 118 to 132. So 118 is the lowest score you can receive on each section. 132 is the highest. The average is set at around the 125 for each section. And then what the MCAT does is it adds up the scores for the 4 sections, okay? So you get a total score of 472 to 528 with the average set at around the 500. So you might be asking, well, what's a competitive score for a lot of medical schools? Well, I think most students are usually aiming to try to get at least a 510 and above on their total score. And on each section, they're trying to get usually a 127 or 128 to be competitive for a lot of medical schools. Now, you can get into medical school with lower than that, but again, if you want to be competitive for most schools, that is what you should be targeting. Okay, so then in terms of preparing for the MCAT, now that you've learned a little bit more about the test, there are a few things I'd like to point out for you. So one of the first things I always recommend that students do is take a practice test. And I know that can sound a little bit intimidating when you haven't done any studying, but the practice test is a great way to start because what it does for you is that it gives you a sense of what your baseline score is, right? So if you take a practice test, you'll get a score report. It'll tell you how well you did in each section. And that can really help you establish, how much work you're going to need to do to prepare for the MCAT, right? So you can see how far you are from your score goal, and you can also get a sense of where your strengths and weaknesses are. So if you take the practice test and you notice, oh my goodness, my psych-soc score was incredibly low, like I obviously need to review some psych-soc content, the practice test can help you determine that. So if you'd like the experience of taking a proctored practice test, we're actually going to be hosting one this Saturday. So if you go to the URL listed on the slide here, princetonreview.com/medical events Canada, you can sign up for a proctored practice test. It's a virtual one, but we do have it divided up by city. So if you'd like to be proctored with other students from your school, you just sign up for the event at your school. But again, it is a virtual proctored test. Okay. We also have a medical school symposium this Thursday, November the 4th, for folks on the East Coast. If you're on the West Coast, then we have one on Wednesday, November 3rd, but that's at 6 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday, November 4th. This is an opportunity for you to learn more about the application process for medical school. We're also going to do a sort of a little sample mini MCAT class where we're going to go through an MCAT passage with you. And then we're going to have a panel of med students answering all of your questions about medical school. So you can sign up for that event at the same exact URL listed there. And then finally, there's 2 other free resources I would recommend you check out. There's one called the MCAT Free Prep Trial on our website. This basically gives you 14 days of free access to all of our biology content. So if you wanted to get a nice preview of our biology videos or our biology drills and practice questions, you can get 2 weeks of a free preview just by going to that website there. You can also download an MCAT flashcards app, which is a great way to kind of study on the go if you just want to get a head start on learning some great MCAT terminology that you're going to need to know for the test. Start memorizing a few things, on the subway or on the bus while you're traveling to school. The flashcards app is a great way to get started on that. And then when you're at the point of actually wanting to get ready for the MCAT, the Princeton Review does offer a variety of options for you to choose from. I have here listed the private tutoring. So if you're someone who wants to create their own schedule, private tutoring is excellent for you. So if you want to meet on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 o'clock, we can find a tutor who can work with you on that time. The other great thing about tutoring is that the syllabus is totally tailored for you. So if you wanted to only focus on physics, you could do that as part of your tutoring, right? So we have an example here of a targeted package, which is a 10-hour package that focuses completely on one subject. So again, if you wanted to just do psych-soc, you could do that. And then you can see the tuition listed here, which includes all of the course materials and online tools that you would receive in a course. All of that gets included as well in the 10-hour package. But of course, courses are the most popular option for students, and our most popular option is the MCAT 510 program. And the thing that's unique about our program is that it comes with a score guarantee. So we are actually going to put our money where our mouth is. We are so confident that our course will be successful in preparing you for the MCAT that we're going to promise one of 2 results. We're going to promise that you will either score a 510 on the MCAT, or that you will improve by at least 10 points from your first practice test. And if neither one of those results occurs, then we will give you a refund on the program. Okay, so what we require from you is that you attend your classes, that you complete your homework, and that you take at least 8 practice tests. So that is what we require from our students. So basically, if you put in the work in the program as we recommend it, we are confident that you will achieve one of these 2 results. And there is a lot of class time. You're going to spend a lot of time with us in the program. There's 168 hours of time where you'll be spending with us, 123 lectures, and then also 45 topic focus hours, which are basically additional sessions where we do a deeper dive into various topics on the MCAT. And then the other nice thing about our program is going to be a team of instructors. So you'll have one instructor who specializes in each subject. So you're not going to have an instructor in front of the room who is trying to teach you physics, but they're an expert in biology. We definitely would not want that situation. All AMC materials that you can find on their website for purchase will be included with our program. So if you're planning to take the program with us, please do not go off and buy the AMC materials. We also have 16 practice tests, full length. Again, you're only required to take 8 of them, but the other 8 are there for you to take whenever you like. Tons of online tools, including something called Medflix, which is a series of short videos on a variety of topics on the MCAT. So if you were struggling with acids and bases and you just wanted to learn about that, you could watch a short video just about that topic. We also have a variety of drills for you to choose from. And then another thing that's unique about the Princeton Review is you get subject-specific exams. So you'll get, for example, if you only wanted to take a CARS exam instead of taking a full-length exam, you could do that with us. We'll provide you with the opportunity to do that. Finally, you will get access to all of your online tools as soon as you enroll. So if you wanted to start working on drills and watching videos, even if your course doesn't start until next summer, you could enroll today and you could get access to all of those online tools. And then finally, we also have a satisfaction guarantee, which says that if you're not satisfied with the program in any way, you can come back within a year and take the course again for free. Okay. So we have a variety of schedules for students to choose from. You can see the tuition listed there. We hope that next summer we'll be able to offer the programs in person, and that will be the tuition for the in-person program, 2,999 Canadian plus tax. But of course, we have live online programs if you prefer to study from home, and you can see the tuition listed there, the 2,699 USD with no tax. Okay. Now, if you're looking for a bit of a shorter program, we also do have something called Mcat Essentials. So Mcat Essentials includes all of the online tools, all of the books, and also includes access to instructors. So it includes all of the essential elements to prepare you for the Mcat, but it does not include the full 123 lecture hours. So instead, it includes the 90 hours of those topic focus lessons where we're doing the deeper dive into individual Mcat topics, but you're not getting all of the full lectures. So if you prefer to be a little bit more independent and you don't want to attend quite as many classes, you prefer to study more on your own, but you would still like to have some access to instructors, then the Mcat Essentials program is for you. Okay, now the Mcat Essentials does not come with the score guarantee, but it does still come with the satisfaction guarantee, which allows you to come back within a year and repeat the program for free. Okay, now this program is only available live online, and you can see the tuition there. And then finally, we have the Mcat self-paced for students who completely want to prep on their own. It's the situation where you just say, Sonny, give me all of your online tools, give me all your books, and I'll just prep on my own. Okay. Finally, we do have med school admissions counseling for any students who would like help with their med school application. We have a variety of packages available, 10 hours, 5 hours, and hourly. We can help you with all the elements of the application, whether that's reviewing your personal statement, your autobiographical sketch, preparing you for the Casper exam, helping you with interview role plays. We can do all of that. If you'd like a free 30-minute consultation with a Princeton Review Med School admissions counselor, you can just send us an email at info@canada@review.com, or you can email me directly, and I would be happy to set that up for you as well. Just want to mention a few discounts on our programs. So if you're here, you're likely a member of the Human Biology Student Union. And so there are some promotional codes here that you can use to save $400 on our courses. You can also save 15% off of our self-paced programs and 15% off of tutoring and admissions counseling packages. So if you'd like, please make note of those promotional codes, or again, you can email me directly and I'm happy to provide them for you again if you're not able to jot them down now. But those are the codes that will allow you to save on some discounts as well. Okay. And then finally, if you're looking for some free events related to dentistry and optometry, we have some coming up in November, and you can see them here. So we're going to have a free practice DAT day on Saturday, November the 27th, along with a dental school symposium on Wednesday, November the 24th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So if you would like to register for those events, you can go to the URL listed here, which is princetonreview.com/dental-events-Canada. And if you're interested in optometry, we're also having an information session on the OAT on Thursday, November 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And again, you can actually register for that at the exact same URL. Okay, so feel free to jot those down if you're also considering dentistry and optometry. Okay, so that is my presentation. I will pause there and put my contact information up on the screen one more time. If you would like to email me for a copy of the slides, please feel free to do that at sonny.coelho@review.com. And I'll turn it back over to you, Natasha. I think we, with a couple of minutes to spare. So there we go.
Do you want to take any questions or?
Yeah, I'll take questions. Does anybody have any questions for me about the MCAT?
You could post it in the chat.
Yes, please. Maybe my presentation was just so thorough that it's all good to go. So, so here we go. Question: will the live lectures be recorded? And if they are, would we have access to them? They would, yes. Absolutely. So if you take a program with the Princeton Review, the lectures are recorded. You will find them in your portal, usually within 24 hours of the class finishing up. So that's a great question. You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, I don't see anything else in the chat, but if you do have any other questions, definitely feel free to email me directly or give me a call. Happy to answer them for you anytime. So Natasha, thank you for the time. Appreciate it. And I'll stop sharing and send it back to you.
Thank you, Sonny.